What's good, YouTube? And welcome to the house. You guys know as well as I do, if you've been around the market for a while, that memes can equal money on the market, and all of Twitter was blowing up Neos's backside in funny proportions, while some other people went on to TCG Player, and Neo's secret rare, you can see over time an actual interesting conversation, the collector's market falling out. The Stimmy checks blew everything up, along with the Pokemon hype, where people went into other card games to diversify. Oh, every hero buyout is good. Well, if you diamond hands Neos, it's paying off versus it going down over time to where the lowest copies of the 10 version are now $80 before $100. Is anybody actually spending that kind of money? Somebody bought one at $60. It'll be interesting to see where it actually falls out to. And then the dual terminal version, this has been bought out a lot, just sitting there, not shown on the page. This is, lowest $5, tons of copies around $6. The version not showing on this other page is the Duelist League versions, the color letter rares, and those have extremely low quantities as usual. And then there's not the most nice versions of Neo, so you do have the gold rare version, which is pretty good overall. So the reason for this hype, again, is that there is a new core set in the OCG announced, and the Neo stuff is leading the charge. But my suggestion to you guys would, you know how many times there's a broken fusion card, and people start to sleep on it and chill on it, and then, oh, another piece of support comes out. If you're thinking about playing that Neos deck at all, get yourself a secret rare Neos fusion using that TCG Player link in the description down below, costing you nothing extra to support the channel directly for the cards you'd already be buying, because yeah, you can send it with Verte first off and do Rainbow Neos, which was the most broken play after Dragoon back in the day. Wow, we're already sounding old with that one. But there's only the super and the secret. The secret looks amazing in comparison, and Savage Strike Supers, there are first and unlimbs thanks to that having a special edition. I would just go with the secret rare. Personally, it looks amazing. It's really, really good for a fusion card, and we've seen time and time again, even if it got elevated to a rogue status, Red Eyes fusion, we've seen, the Destiny fusion. Think about this one, and don't really sleep too hard if you're thinking about the deck at all, because hero players, they go next level with some of these things, and we've seen that too often. Speaking of broken fusions, Red Eye's Dark Dragoon is starting to spike once again. We are heading toward those Albaz Strike structure decks, and it's seeing some play within the current format. I keep running into it and I'm like, this is pretty hard to out when you don't draw your droplets. And this card is now quickly 110 and going up even further on the front page all the way to 120. Very few cheap sellers. And for the first time with the Ultra spiking, the Starlight is spiking. You can see it was just continuous downward trend to 350, but now the lowest near mint is around 380, and it's quickly 400. So people finally going for this one. I warned you that would actually happen at some point, that people would want to max rarity. Even though Alba Strike is a structure deck, you have people that will want to max rarity, and that this one really seemed like people were sleeping on it too hard. Now, Brothers of Legend is still readily available. You have the boxes at $63, kind of unheard of for a Battles of Legend set. I did warn that that name change might hurt the set, but also the contents inside immediately being announced for Legendary Duel Season 3, potentially for some of the top reprints, did not help this set. So there's not the most Dragoons out there, but if it continues to rise up, we could see a smaller version of 10,000 Dragon where people tear this open for both Droplet and Red Eyes Dark Dragoon and then get disillusioned by, oh yeah, this is 2 per case, and people opened all secret boxes and didn't even see one. And then you also have Red Eyes Dark Dragoon, being around, I think 1 per 3 cases. I think it's like 1.5 cases to see Leviathan or Dragoon. So combining the mix and match, you're about 3 cases in to be seeing that on average. Aluber, also speaking of the good old Alba Strike stuff, I've noticed is baby bumping back up towards 65. This was falling out to 55 available, and now it's starting to go up. So people are really preparing as it's almost on our doorstep. But looking around the high-end stuff, I see that Stardust Dragon is going up in price and also lower on quantities for the Starlight rare. While the graph would suggest it's higher than this, there's actually just not the most sellers for Stardust Dragon anymore, and the quantities are disappearing. And that's the case for a lot of different Starlights. I knew I had the one more thing for the Alba Strike stuff. I just wanted to remind people Light Hex Sealed Fusion is like a $5 card right now and has no reprint in sight. So if you're considering playing the deck, you can either Copium, hope that Konami's ahead with that reprint instead of far behind to, say, the world premiere reprint set in the summer and waiting that long to be able to play this card. That's why this card is so much money right now. Looking through Battle of Chaos, the other buyout is Starlight right now. We see Dark finally really going low on quantities and down to one page. People are starting to say, you know what, something in this set has to be money. Nobody's opening. The box is impressively staying at about 60, and a lot of the collectible DM era stuff is holding value, and long term that could pan out if not for Megatons. Now, I did say something wrong last Market Watch. I was like, you know what, in this year's Megatons, you're going to see probably secret rare versions. This is the first set not to be in the 2022 Megatons because you have Blazing Dumpster Fire, Lightning Undertribe, Yawn of Majesty, and then finally Burst of Destiny, saving the Megatons a little bit, as long as they don't piece that out too bad like they did with Rise of the Duelist and Eternity Code, the sweating emoji. But looking through the rest of this, I think that it's impressive how some of these collectible, more so cards, are holding their value right now. And you actually see the Blue Eyes Jet starting to go back up. It was falling 18, 17, and now it's headed back towards 20, which I initially thought it might be, versus the competitive stuff like the Floon the Respell really trying to hold around 14. And the Dinosaur Mommy buyout, again, I feel like there's just nothing behind it when the Starlight isn't going along with it. It just shows kind of how forced it was early on. Caius the Shadow Monarch Ultimate Rare, we brought this up a couple times for plant format. Of course, there are other formats that can, have Caius in it. People are actually buying it out at 300. There's now only one left at 350 from a low rated but 100% seller before it's 500 freaking dollars. And yes, actual sales at the $300 mark, hitting some all-time highs on some of these past format cards. Time Wizard format taking over as the collectible format overall falls out, but people go, okay, that was playable at one point, and I really like that card. I want to get it back. I want to play this format over here, over there, if my locals are supporting it, or I can find the remote duel with it. Chaos Emperor, the Dragon of Armageddon, secret rare, super short printed out of Battles of Legend Armageddon, spiking hard. I've heard that this was doing well in Dragon Link from my Discord. I actually don't know the source of that. Apparently it did well at a case tournament. I haven't had time to look into it, but I would also think being a Melody target helps this card a bit. And at $70 now, 69, not so nice, 69 shipping. I feel like that was targeted at me. But looking through everything here, it is actually selling at 60 plus very fast, where people were able to spend not so much just the week before, around that $40 mark, but people are really rushing at this one. And Dragon Link is so thirsty for techs and players because so many people have that deck and want to be playing it. Very interesting to see this doing so well. You could technically play it in Blue Eyes decks too, which Master Duel has a lot of those coming into the game. Rakas, the Rika Teardrop Queen, has 11 listings and is just consistently up in price as an Xyz. I mean, it is a completely generic Xyz, technically speaking. I think that it's an okay one, but at some point Konami will probably reprint some of the Rikas. They eventually get around to a lot of the side sets. One penny stonk over here that I do like, though, is Rika Queen Strinna. She has a common reprint in the Mega Packs, making her the only holo, and this has ended up in combos multiple times and is now down towards 50 cents for being able to be played in generic plant good stuff rather than specific plant good stuff, which again, the other one is a rank 8 generic. I like this card a lot too and think its potential is very, very well, but that's where player brand can mess with your market brand. I'm like, okay, if the common got good, it would get bought out to $2, and this could be like $8 to $10 one day, and it's only 50 cents now. That's how you can also end up holding on to stacks of cards for years and years with nothing happening. So again, not a financial advisor channel. I don't know your bankroll, your ability to hold on to cards, where things will go. I don't have time traveling info brokers that tell me the future, but these are the kinds of things that I would like to slowly acquire, not pay my hard-earned money for, and get as throw-ins on deals and build stacks of slowly rather than just go buy out. So keep in mind cards like that end up slept on, that have a history of getting bought out, especially for their highest rarities. Herald of the Arclight is seeing a lot more play in the Hulk combos that are going around and ending up on end boards. There's also the special edition that doesn't show up on this page, which is super rare. The weird NECH special editions that did every single super rare in the set, if you're wondering what that is. I've actually had multiple people ask me about that one. But the gold rare is the latest printing. People actually kind of like the aesthetic of this one. I don't mind it either, but again, divisive. Not everyone's going to like gold. And there's just so many super rares before you get to the Battles of Legend Ultra. They're all around $2 right now. You have no excuse not to have yours. It's also played in Drytron, another deck that people are coming from Master Duel and thinking about picking up if they, you know, have experience with the deck and finally became the villain themselves. I saw that meme where it's Aaron Yeager and he finally gives into Drytron and hits Plat 2. Looking through all of this though, 5 different versions, all of them holographic, all of them somewhat desirable. Pick and choose which one you want realistically, but Ultra does seem to be the highest rarity. I personally think Super looks the nicest, and then Gold, and then Ultra. Something about the Ultra I just don't personally like, but that's aesthetic, and you never know where the market will go. DDD, Marksman King got bought out as a Foolish Burial effect for the contracts, and also can do a little burn damage, just spiking up real hard. You're usually DDD locked, so I don't think it's for a Zeus material effect. I think it's just goodness within DDDs. You rank up, you foolish things, continue to extend your play. So be aware that another card that only has 2 printings, one being a Megaton, is bought out for DDDs. You might have some more money than you thought you had with that card. Borrelsword Dragon, the secret out of Battles of Legend Heroes Revenge, is actually pressing the original out of Cybernetic Horizon. That one has me scratching my head a little bit. Let me know what you think though. Is the secret rare printing of this just nicer? I do remember it being a little bit lighter, and I was like, that looks pretty good versus the darker Cybernetic Horizon version. So again, aesthetic can actually play even versus original copies sometimes. And then you have John Lennon Borrelsword Dragon over there. Witch's Strike is getting bought out. You actually apparently play this in the Eldritch sideboard. Somebody said Triff did a profile on this that I haven't got to watch yet, but Witch's Strike being played in Eldritch for when your stuff gets stuffed or negate and just blowing out the opponent is the most real version of actually having the resources to back this up, protect this, and also have it like go off. I don't know though. This is one of those cards that keeps getting bought out without realistic impacts in the metagame itself, and is so easy to hype up like Retort. Let me know what you think about Witch's Strike, like versus the history of cards like Retort, because this is one of those that keeps going up, getting bought out. Oh, this looks so good on paper, and then falls back flat. And it's the Megaton Ultra going and now pressing the price of the secret when you could just have the secret rare in this case. And finally, Ancient Boomer formats Blowback Dragon. All I can really remember of this card is a niche tech in Cyberstein OTK format. I didn't know every single version of this was about $1 besides the Speed Duel Battle City box, so there's maybe some money you didn't know you had. But the Star Foil version of it is actually getting bought out to crazy proportions, as I understand it, like $4 or $5. I don't know. This is a weird one to me. You have so many nice versions. You have DR2, you have Master Collection, you have Ancient Sanctuary, you have a Champion Pack. Why go for the Starfoil buyout? Just the kind of weird champ how Starfoil buyouts happen like that. Let me know what you think of this one and others though. And did you know Blowback Dragon was $1 card for most of the versions? I certainly didn't, but I still pull it out of bulk. But that's kind of a head scratcher because I was thinking of slimming down when I pull out of bulk. This is something I would stop having picked out of bulk if I didn't know. Thanks for watching today's Market Watch. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed the conversation. Figured out something new you didn't know yourself, because I'm still learning, even as the market goes, how crazy some things can be. Thanks for watching, everybody.